From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
An avalanche in the Big Sky area claims the life of a backcountry skier. Coming up, find out where it happened and the efforts by search and rescue crews to get those caught in the slide to safety.
And later, see a touching story of a special reunion for a pair of pets. Learn how it all happened because of a high-tech test.
All right, at 6:30 on this Monday, Chet Lehman, Holly Brantley, Matt Elwell with you here. Finally, a respectable change in our weather.
I like that word.
Respectable temperatures of single digits.
Yeah, it's a heat wave. I had the window down this morning. It was great.
Downright balmy, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was.
And in some cases it is. Still dealing with many areas near zero, but compared to some of those sub-zero temperatures we've been dealing with the last few days, it is a welcome sight. We are seeing the potential of some snow, especially at high elevations throughout the day today. But we are looking at some valley snow as well before it's all said and done. Our daytime temperatures still struggling early on, but our temperatures should be into the 20s by the afternoon with more of a southerly wind, scattered snow showers with heaviest accumulation expected overnight and into your Tuesday. We'll talk more about the impacts that may have for your commute coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Matt. An avalanche near Big Sky has claimed the life of one man and led to the rescue of another.
Gallatin County Interim Sheriff Dan Springer confirms the death as a result of an avalanche in the Beehive Basin. According to search and rescue, 2 men were backcountry skiing in the area when the slide swept them into the trees. One man was uninjured and able to call 911 for help after hearing his partner yelling for help. Crews worked to rescue the other, who was dragged through the trees by the avalanche, partially buried. He was transported to the Big Sky Medical Center, then flown to Bozeman Health, where he later died from his injuries. Now we will be following this story and update you as more information becomes available. Also, Butte Silverbow police say a gun-wielding man robbed a Butte marijuana dispensary on Saturday afternoon. Sheriff Ed Lester says Butte police responded around 3:46 in the afternoon to a reported robbery at Elevated Medical Marijuana on Harrison Avenue. The suspect, a man wearing dark clothing, dark mask, brown shoes, reportedly robbed the store at gunpoint and then fled the area. Man last seen leaving the area of the Super 8 in a dark colored vehicle. Sheriff Lester said no one was injured. The incident remains under investigation. Now anyone with information about the robbery asked to call the Butte Police Department at 406-497-1120.
Many factors contribute to the success of a small business. A recent study done by the Blueprint found Montana is the #1 state to open a small business in 2021. Tax climate, consumer spending within the state, the rate of new entrepreneurs, business survival rate over the five years, and labor costs contribute to the ranking.
Entrepreneurship is very important for the Golden Triangle. Montana is #1 in entrepreneurship, and we want to keep that and even grow it, which is bucking the national trend.
In other headlines this morning on the national scene, over the weekend, former President Donald Trump was acquitted in his impeachment trial by the United States Senate.
Democrats fell 10 votes short in their effort to convict, but as our Joe St. George explains, criminal investigations in various states are the biggest concern for the former president right now.
Is not guilty as charged in the article of impeachment.
Impeachment may be over, but post-presidential life for former President Trump isn't getting any easier. That's because criminal investigations in various states are just getting underway. In Georgia, a prosecutor in Fulton County and the state's Secretary of State have opened investigations for Trump's alleged attempts to influence the administration of the 2020 Georgia general election. There is a recorded phone call in which the former president asks officials to, quote, find the vote. Washington, D.C. D.C.'s Attorney General is considering charges related to the January 6th riots at the Capitol, based on a city law banning individuals from encouraging violence. And in New York State, criminal and civil investigations are underway into various business dealings. All of this means former President Trump will be dealing with the prospect of new trials for months or even years, but a criminal trial is potentially more challenging for the former president. Unlike an impeachment trial, he won't have a personal connection with some of the jurors. The former president's team continues to maintain he did nothing wrong, and all of these investigations are political attacks. But the outcomes could impact whether former President Trump runs for president again. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
6:34 now back here at home. In this month's edition of Awaiting Child, we introduce you to siblings, known for their kindness and their wit.
MTN's Lauren Heiser introduces us to 15-year-old Jet and 13-year-old Sarah.
Until recently, separation was becoming an all too familiar feeling for Jet and Sarah.
I do get to see my brother at least once a week, I think.
Yeah, once a week at least.
I do see him at least once a month.
These siblings have been making their way through the foster and adoption systems here in Montana for 10 years and are currently living in separate group homes waiting for the right family. Jet loves to work with computers and Sarah is more musically inclined. But both are best known for their silly sense of humor.
They're great kids. They're smart. They're funny. Everybody who meets either one of them just falls in love with them.
Who's the best at sports? Who's the best singer? Who's the best dancer?
I can't dance.
I can't dance.
The pair differ in many ways, but both agree that it's important for them to have a family that loves the outdoors.
What I look for in a family is a active family that likes to go and likes to go outdoors and explore.
For me, I like to live in the woods and with internet.
In Missoula, Lauren Heiser, MTN News.
Well, for more information on Jet and Sarah and more about fostering and adoption, you can call 1-866-9-FOSTER.
6:36 now. Reunions are almost always special. Holly discovered a unique case.
I've covered many stories of adoption and reunions, but never one quite like this. This time it is the tale of a mother and her son and the unique way two adoptive parents discovered their connection.
With happy grunts and wagging tails, it's clear Twyla and George are anything but strangers.
That was amazing. You know, I could tell that it seemed like they definitely recognized each other.
These two pups have met before.
She definitely recognized him.
Their owners recently discovered these dogs are family, mother and son, revealed through a DNA test for canines.
As sort of a helicopter dog mom in a lot of dog Facebook groups, I knew it was a thing people did.
See, both Twyla and George were adopted from the Stafford Animal Shelter in Livingston at different times by two different owners. They were not brought in together, and no one knows how or when they were separated. They may have never crossed paths again, but their respective pet parents, James and Olivia, both simply wanted to know more about the genetics of their new best friends. So they each sent off for a DNA test through a company called Embark and waited for the results.
Got the results back and was pretty pleased with, the breed that he came back with. Quite a unique mix. Lots of hound, lab, German Shepherd, and Australian cattle dog as well.
And also Embark has a health feature, so kind of tells you about different genetic markers that they may have and things that may appear, in life that you can kind of preemptively look out for.
The test also had another feature, one that made it possible to potentially discover your pet's four-legged relatives.
It wasn't until about a year later, which was, about last week, when Twyla's owner got her results back. And I got the email saying that, hey, George has got a relative.
The results were a 50% match, revealing Twyla is George's mom.
So I had an inkling that she had puppies. The shelter told me that when she came in that she looked like, she had a litter before, that they could tell that. So I knew they were sort of out there.
Both owners agreed the resemblance is striking.
I've always known that after getting the test, he's got the hound breed, or I've known, after getting the test result, knowing that he's got some hound breed and then seeing her, it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense.
Now both dogs live in Bozeman, so James and Olivia decided immediately they had to bring the two back together. Now this could be the first of many family frolics in the park. If only Twyla and George could tell us what they think about being reunited. But Olivia says she has a pretty good idea.
I like to think I can know what she's thinking. But you could tell, with lots of the grunting and stuff, that she was very excited.
In Bozeman, Holly Brantley, MTN News.
So it was so cool to see them meet for
That's
the first
awesome.
time, and
That's
everybody
cool.
we cried. I mean, it was pretty
That's
cool.
super cool, yeah.
And I got to talk to James. He said as soon as the cold weather breaks, they're going to get them together as often as possible. We also found out there are several DNA tests out there for dogs if you're interested in getting one for your canine, and veterinarians say they are extremely accurate.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. Technology coming through for
I know.
a family reunion.
Even for pets.
It's nice.
Well, coming up here on Montana This Morning, another big digital company is telling workers they can just keep working from home. So, who is it, and what does that mean for the future of jobs? That's coming up.
But first, here's Tony DeCopa with a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Hey, good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we'll have the latest on the winter storm sweeping across the country. Plus, almost a year now into the pandemic, there is still confusion over how to travel safely. Only on CBS This Morning, a look at the first U.S. airline to offer in-airport coronavirus testing to its passengers. Also, U.S. intelligence is still trying to stop a cyber attack that got inside federal agencies nearly a year ago. We'll ask a former cybersecurity chief if we should be concerned about our own personal data. And author Heather McGhee joins us to discuss the economic costs of racism, how members of all races have lost out because of racist public policies. The book is called The Sum of Us. We'll see you at 7.